if public education wasn't worth fighting for, our communities wouldn't have, fought so hard and so long for them. Even though they're not perfect, they're not always equitable, I think that it's worth the fight. My name is Carrie Sampson. I'm an associate professor at Arizona State University. Broadly speaking, I'm interested in educational policy and leadership when it comes to issues of equity for minoritized students. More specifically, I focus largely on school boards. I wrote a book on school boards. It's called Navigating School Board Politics, a Framework for Advancing Equity. And so this brief is really an overview of the book. The big central question that I've asked in the book, and in particular about the brief, do school boards matter, one, and in what ways do they matter when it comes to educational equity? The majority of the research comes from a multi-case study of 3 states, one in Arizona, a school board in Arizona, a school board in Nevada, and a school board in Utah. And so I use those case studies in my book and in the brief as well to offer examples of how the research, examples of what the research says about school boards. The role of the school board is to provide oversight and governance of our schools. So that often means hiring and firing the superintendent, managing the superintendent, which is, considered kind of the CEO of many school districts across the country. But I think the role of school boards differ depending on the context. And so they get to make decisions and set priorities around what happens with budgets, what happens with policy, what happens with curriculum. We really are seeing a push to see public education gone, or any semblance of what we know of public education, and especially when it comes to issues of equity. And yet our school boards are really at the front line. They're at the local level. And so a lot of folks have shifted their attention, community organizers have shifted their attention to school boards, knowing that they will make a huge difference in making decisions, whether that be pushing back against some of the federal policies that might feel inequitable or unjust, or, adopting them. And so those are critical decisions that will affect our schools for, decades to come. For Black communities, they really fought, at the state level, at the legal level, but at the school board level too, to have policies that would, be equitable for them. Without, good quality neighborhood schools, we're not gonna be able to provide continuous opportunities for our children and our communities. And so that's why I've kind of evolved even into thinking about not just equitable schools, but what does it mean to have a healthy school? What does it mean to have a humanizing schools? Because I can send my kids to an A-rated school with the highest test scores, but that might not be the most healthy school for my children. And so thinking about even how we measure schools differently and how communities and families think about what it is that they want in their school. And so school boards offer an opportunity to have a voice in that.